We will be celebrating the second annual Fess Parker Festival to honor San Angelo's own Fess Parker, who, while born in Fort Worth in 1924, got to San Angelo as soon as he could and basically grew up here as a youngster. Elementary school, junior high, and high school, played football here, probably one of the most famous people San Angelo produced. In the evening, we will have a film of Fess Parker called The Great Locomotive Chase, a classic Civil War film. There'll be popcorn, a birthday cake, a trivia quiz, and we will finish with singing the ballad of Davy Crockett. It's all free. It's all at the Quartermaster Building. Look for the signs on the fort's north side, and it's family friendly. And even if you never saw a Fess Parker film, you need to come by and enjoy the day.
Well, it certainly goes back to the childhood. You know, my era of kids, you had to have a coonskin cap. It was just a thing. It was, I think, the biggest fad that ever happened in the United States before the Beatles. You know, they sold a lot of merchandise because kids wanted to have it. And, you know, we picked up on this about a year and a half ago, that how involved he was in the city. And, you know, when I think of him, I imagine this kid who's playing with his little gang of buddies down the street, riding bicycles, drinking from a garden hose, doing the things that kids used to do back in that era. And I think he'd still be living in San Angelo, or would have been living in San Angelo, except World War II took a whole lot of people out of San Angelo off to the war. And of course, after he returned, he had the desire to go into, a hankering to go into acting, and here we are. But there's a saying, and I want to express it, that I believe is meaningful. Folks say that Davy Crockett made Fess Parker, brought him riches and celebrity status, but the same thing could be said the other way. Fess Parker made Davy Crockett famous, because if you didn't live in Texas or you didn't live in Tennessee, kids around the country would not have even known, and still to this day wouldn't have known, who Fess Parker was. And the other thing I want to add, because it's my addition to it, is okay, you know, Davy Crockett made Fess Parker, and Fess Parker made Davy Crockett. But San Angelo made Fess Parker too, because of the values that he portrayed as an actor. It wasn't just acting. That was the values that this entire town expects out of people: a quietness, an honesty. Bob found an article that said nobody can find anybody that got an unkind word from Fess Parker. And I think that really shows what the man was. We need to get Fess Parker, the legacy of Fess Parker out there, so people understand that the greatness that came out of San Angelo. There's quotes where he said San Angelo is still a great place to live, but it needs a little bit more rain. You know, I think that sums it up. But he came back to meet old friends from when he was just a kid, and also to be involved in civic and community activities. He was a supporter of the Museum of Fine Arts, which was out here at Fort Concho during that time. So even though he left the town to go out to California and set up a winery and all that stuff after his career ended, I think he had a very special place in his heart for San Angelo and the people that live here.